I'm Roy Cotton Jr., your host for Love and Inspiration, live every Sunday from 3 to 5 p.m. And if you've missed a live broadcast, you can always listen to a rebroadcast on voiceofthecaribbean.net. That's Voice of the Caribbean on St. Kitts and Nevis, and definitely going out to the Caribbean diaspora and around the world. And that's at 8 p.m. on Sunday evenings, and on Monday mornings at 10 a.m. You just got to go on to sknnewsline.com. That's sknnewsline.com and scroll down to where you see Voice of the Caribbean. Also saying good afternoon to first-time listener Richelieu. Thank you so much for tuning into Love and Inspiration. I'm pretty sure after today, listening to the first time to the show, you would always return to Love and Inspiration here on 102.7 FM. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure, of course, to introduce to you shortly a gentleman that I spoke about a while ago, and he was on the show last year, and I'm talking about Mr. Oswald Francis. He's a retired educator, and I know he's super excited, as I am and you are, because many persons have been asking him, when is the book coming? And it's going to be here very soon. You just got to sleep a few nights, and you'll be able to get your hands on the book. But he'll tell you today also too on how you can pre-order the book. I'm talking about In Emilio Wilson Park with Uncle Joe. And if you're asking yourself, what is this book all about, Roy Cotton Jr.? So let me just give you a quick synopsis. In Emilio Wilson Park with Uncle Joe is a vibrant collection of stories rooted in Caribbean life, tales of adventure, courage, and the moments that define who we become. Through the warm voice of 99-year-old Uncle Joe, young readers, ladies and gentlemen, are drawn into a world where integrity, respect, humility, and pride in heritage are not just values to admire, but a way of life to embrace. And I have the gentleman himself here on the line, Mr. Oswald Francis, who is a proud, and I'm going to mention this, and he's going to expound on this for you, ladies and gentlemen. He is a proud Cura Tegan Martiner, and that's Curacao by birth, Antiguan by heritage, and St.Maarten by choice. That is absolutely a mixture there. Shaped by his formation at the Antigua Grammar School, the Leeward Islands Teachers Training College, the Technical Teachers Training College in St. Lucia, and the Caribbean Institute of Mass Communication, University of West Indies, Mona, Kingston, Jamaica, Mr. Oswald Francis has spent his life in a devoted service to Caribbean education and youth development. In Emilio Wilson Park with Uncle Joe is his love letter to the children of the region, a reminder that their elders carry wisdom worth hearing and their potential know no limits. So, without further ado, let's speak to Mr. Oswald Francis. Good afternoon, Mr. Francis. How are you doing? Welcome to Love and Inspiration once again.
Good afternoon, Mr. Love and Inspiration. I'm doing quite well, thank you.
Fantastic.
And good afternoon to your 2 million plus listeners all around the globe. It's a pleasure to be on your show today.
Thank you so much. And I want to also, again, thank you for being such a committed listener over the years of Love and Inspiration. Thank you so very much. And also your comments that you do send in, they're highly appreciated. And it's a pleasure to have you back on this well-known and also respected radio show. And this is where you are on the world stage to talk about your amazing book that is just right around the corner. So how are you feeling, Mr. Francis, that it is almost here?
Well, I am ecstatic. I'm thrilled. I really look forward to that because this book was long in the making, but because of ill health, I had to put it on the back burner. But by the grace of God, I'm back on the road again. So the book is also on the road again. And I'm very grateful to a number of people like yourself, my daughters, Connie and Anne, my wife, Kathy, my sons, Chevlin and Keontae, and my grandchildren. They all rally around me, encouraging me. And so the book is almost here. So I am really thrilled.
Oh, I could definitely imagine, because it's been a while in the making. And as you stated, over the period of time, there was little setbacks, but you kept the faith and you kept upon it. And you really had really great persons, family members in your corner. And again, for the fact that you could have said, you know what, with everything going on, I'm going to just let this slide. But it is so amazing and inspiring to actually know that you are now launching a book very soon and having persons, even self, approach. And I'm sure you've had persons calling you and said, Mr. Francis, when is it coming? When is the book coming? Is that correct?
Oh, yes. I mean, on a daily basis, people are asking me, when is the book coming? Please reserve one for me. I really want to get a copy, you know. I'm delighted to hear that. So I want them to know that the book is almost here. And, you know, they can pre-order. That's one of the best way of securing your copy, by pre-ordering.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
in a matter of time, the book will be here.
Absolutely. And you know, as we talk a little bit about the book, because it's a very short conversation we're having today, just to entice persons and get them ready to get on to online and pre-order. But really, what inspired you, Mr. Francis, to write this book in Emilio Wilson Park with Uncle Joe?
Well, every Saturday I used to go to Emilio Wilson Park with my grandchildren and their friends and cousins, and we used to play cricket. And while playing there, you know, the idea came along, hey, because I think I'm a natural writer in the sense, my grandparents, they were great storytellers, grandparents on both sides, you know, and my parents, they were really good writers. I have letters from them since I was in college, you know. I have not discarded them. I've kept them. And when I see the use of the language and the metaphors and, you know, the way they phrase the language, making it so beautiful, you know, I decided, well, you know, since I have inherited their literary skills, I am going to put it to practice. And then I was involved in a lot of literary productions as editor, as proofreader. So I thought it was time for me to do my own thing. And I've been writing since I was a little boy. Started in Curacao. I used to write, at that time, mostly in Papiamento and Dutch. But then when we moved to Antigua, I really started loving the English language. And as a result of that, I did a lot of writing in English. I won quite a few prizes from different competitions. So I know for sure that, you know, it's in the DNA. So therefore, I decided, hey, let's put this to practice. And then my good friend, Oswald Jr., he kept telling me, Ozzy, you got to write, it's time for you to do your own thing. And so I decided, hey, let me do it. And here is in Emilio Wilson Park with Uncle Joe.
And it's beautiful. I'm so happy that you've shared that with the listeners, so now they know exactly why that book was written and how it comes from the heart, and especially for children. And as I was saying earlier, Mr. Francis, you know, just having a sneak preview in the book and looking at the chapters, the water rat, a stitch in time, from poverty to prosperity, gold under the tamarind tree, and then of course Caribbean Jumbie stories, and knowing the fact that oh my goodness, I'm sure that's going to be a chapter that is going to have so many persons thrilled. I mean, even the other chapters, but seeing that we are in the Caribbean, you know, growing up, and even myself, I can remember those famous Jumbie stories. Tell us a little bit about your feeling about these chapters in the book, and what can persons really expect, especially since it's a book that is signifying our heritage and our culture here in beautiful St. Maarten, and teaching our young people.
Oh yes, the stories reflect us. We can see ourselves in each chapter. You can see ourselves. We can see ourselves. The water rat is a beautiful story. It shows a bullying, and it tells you that bullying is not something that happens now, that just emerged. Bullying was long time, but because perhaps it's more prevalent today, and it shows how it can be dealt with. Another thing is sometimes when the person that you despise and you call all sorts of names and you don't like, sometimes that's the very same person may turn out to save your life. And that is beautifully presented in Water Rat. And also in the Water Rat, Uncle Joe was a student or pupil of Orion School, which is the oldest school on the island, and he mentioned some of the personalities we have among us, or some of them have gone to the great beyond, that attended the school. And he said that Orion School was a great school, and he went on to say, still is. And when I wrote that, I didn't have much of history of Orion School, but because I knew that quite a number of persons attended Orion School. In fact, my wife taught there, so I got to know quite a number of the teachers and everybody there. And I realized the important role Orion School played on the island. Well, I didn't go into much detail, but just scratch the surface enough to tantalize someone to go out and learn more about Orion School. So, there's a little history there. And the one with Gold Under the Tamarind Tree, I think that's amazing. You've heard a lot of stories about, in the old days, the pirates like Peter Stuyvesant and these guys, when they used to be around looting and, pirating the Spanish fleet around. So they got gold, and, legend says that some of the gold is buried on or in Cold Bay.
Oh.
So I developed a story of that. And then we also had From Poverty to Prosperity, which is a story that I love very much, because sometimes we think that because someone is born poor, someone lives in abject poverty, or someone comes from a particular area, that person cannot become anything in life. And this story tells you about a young lady that was born in Middle Region, and her father, as usual in those old days, a lot of people used to do that. They got somebody pregnant and they run away. They go to Holland or England or somewhere else and abandon the child and the mother. The mother was a really industrious lady, and she worked hard and took care of her child along with her mother. And this child became a very prominent person, not only in the Caribbean, but in the world, And then cap it off, we have the Jumbie stories, which is part of our culture in the Caribbean. I mean, anywhere in the Caribbean, you'll hear something about Jumbies, Well, the intention is to tell a story from all the Leeward Islands, but time did not permit that, so I just chose a few islands, and then we will see the similarities and differences, but they all boil down to Caribbean way of life, Jumbie stories, which originally came from Africa, right? So, put in a nutshell, this is a book, I think, that everybody should have. Okay, I label it as a children's book, but to me, I keep reading it. And the more I read it, the more I like it as an adult. So I know that adults will also like it. It is reader friendly. I mean, when you take up this book, less than no time, you would have read it all. You don't want to put it down.
Oh, I can imagine.
It's like magic.
Oh,
it's
definitely.
like magic. Your eyes are glued to the book. And one of my objectives was to encourage young people, or people on the whole, to read. In my school days, we didn't have all these distractions with iPhone and, all these modern gadgets. So our form of entertainment was reading. You'll find during the recess or break, somebody would be in the corner reading Perry Mason, Agatha Christie, Sheldon Jones. And during the 60s, when the Afrocentric movement started, you'll find somebody like me reading Stokely Carmichael, Baldwin, James Baldwin, all these great authors that spoke about Black consciousness. Unfortunately, I don't see much of that today. So my objective was, hey, let us stimulate the young people to write. So since this is going to be my first book, it's not going to be bulky. It's going to be reader-friendly. It's going to be captivating. And as time goes on, we keep building up so that we will become a reading public again. I disagree with people who say that we don't like to read. We do like to read. because I used to say a small island at St. Maarten that in the 80s could accommodate 5 daily newspapers. That's unheard of, okay? So it shows that we love to read, but somehow we have, because of modernization, we have probably lost that fire, that passion to read.
Right.
So it's my intention, and as an educator for over 60 years, I've seen it all. I've taught from elementary as low as 3rd grade to secondary to tertiary. So I have seen the progression, I have seen the attitude, I've seen the discipline throughout, So I thought that in Emilio Wilson Park will be the catalyst that would stimulate reading on the island and beyond.
Definitely. As you share that just now, that has given to the listeners absolutely the in-depth of why you wrote it, what the book contains, and definitely not only for children, but you said also to adults. And, when I got a sneak preview of what's in the book, I said, this is a book I definitely want to read. And I know persons right now who've been listening attentively are saying, okay, Mr. Francis, I'm ready to pre-order. But of course, before we get to that, I know that the publishing companies that were involved and also one of the funds that made this possible, would you like to just highlight and just share with the general public those publishing houses that were involved, and also the funding agency that brought this to fruition for the book?
Oh, yes. I'm delighted to work with Victorious Living Publishing and Walton Publishing House from Barbados. These people have been extremely good to me. I listened to their advice, and they were patient, because I'm not a person that is easily moved. You got to convince me, hey, this is the way it should go. And so I really want to pick them up. Victorious Living Foundation, Dr. M.A. Francis Cotton, and Walton Publishing House in Barbados, Dr. Sherry Walton, and I can really recommend this publishing house. It's really super. I really love to work with them. They're patient, they're creative, innovative. They listen to you, and they come up with ideas. They don't force things down your throat. And so at the end, you get a good product. And I also want to big up at Culture Funds Caribis Habit for their generous grant. Because of their grant, I'm able to publish in Emilio Wilson Park. So to all of them, I say my eternal gratitude to you for your contribution.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Mr. Francis. And ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it from Mr. Francis, and he's going to share with you right now. If you would like to pre-order, he's going to share with you the number that you can reach him on personally. So, Mr. Francis, you go ahead and you share that, and I'm also going to share the other areas where persons could absolutely pre-order the book coming very, very soon. The floor is yours.
Oh, yeah. To get to me for the pre-order, you can use my email address, oswald146@gmail.com, low caps, all low caps, or on WhatsApp, 1721
524-9209. 524-9209.
Yes.
And I also like to thank you also on that, Mr. Francis. What I'd like to also add then for persons to know that in terms of the pre-ordering, because they can contact you directly as stated, but from what I'm seeing here from the information presented is that listeners right now can also do the following, and that is, let me just pull it up. You can go on to www.victoriouslivingfoundation.com, and on there you would see the link where you can do your pre-ordering. And just to let you know that the link to purchase the ebook for only 99 US cents will be available on Victorious Living Foundation's website this Wednesday morning, March 18th. So the link to purchase the ebook for only 99 US cents will be available on www.victoriouslivingfoundation.com this Wednesday morning, March 18th. And if you are also wanting to contact Victorious Living Publishing, you can email the following email address, which is publishing at victoriouslivingfoundation.com. That's publishing at victoriouslivingfoundation.com, all lowercase, or send a WhatsApp number, a WhatsApp message actually, to 1721 524 8731. That's 1721 524 8731. And again, you heard it, that this book here in Emilia Wilson Park with Uncle Joe is brought to you by Victorious Living Publishing on St. Maarten in collaboration with Walton House Publishing on Barbados, and funded by Het Cultuurfonds Caribisch Gebied. Mr. Oswald Francis, the time is almost here for the book, and I know that you cannot wait to be signing those copies for persons at the book launch. They just got to stay in tune for when that's going to be taking place. What are your final words to the listening public here on St. Maarten and around the world as you anticipate the arrival of your amazing book for this country and everyone who would love to get their hands on this book?
Well, let's continue reading. The world is in chaos. We have to keep our eyes open, and we must be informed of what's happening around us. But we must also ask for a discerning spirit. Let the Lord ask us to, so we can discern fake from fake from fiction. Because what I have discovered, even the major news agencies are not telling us the whole truth. You get the half truth. So what you have to do, you have to listen and watch the news from all the different agencies, and then you can see exactly what's really happening. But I think we are living in some really serious times, and we cannot afford to become complacent. And at the same time, we cannot be worrying ourselves and stressing ourselves to death. That's the reality of life. But we hope, as one of my favorite scriptures is, weeping may endure for the night, but joy comes in the morning. So the book has been waiting for quite a while, but it's going to come soon from now. So I look to the patronage of everyone. I think this is a book worth having, worth reading, and I would encourage all school boards and everybody in St. Maarten to get a copy of the book. It's a book that I think we will enjoy, a book that will spur us on to read more, and, for entertainment and for information. So I wish you a very good afternoon, beautiful one. And DJRC, continue to do the great work you're doing, educating, uplifting, and entertaining the masses. So we look forward every Sunday afternoon to hear love and inspiration. Thank you.
I appreciate that, Mr. Oswald Francis. Thank you so very much, and wishing you all the best as you lead up to the launch of in Emilia Wilson Park with Uncle Joe. And just looking forward to that book when it comes out. And ladies and gentlemen, again, if you would like to pre-order, you can, of course, reach out to Mr. Francis himself on his WhatsApp number, and that is 1721 524 9209. That's 1721 524 9209. You can also go on to www.victoriouslivingfoundation.com, and on there you'll be able to see the link where you can register to get your copy of the book, and also at the same time reminding you that this Wednesday, the 18th of March, the link will be there to purchase the ebook for only 99 US cents, and that will be available on www.Victorious Living Foundation this coming Wednesday morning, March 18th, 2026. Mr. Francis, just before you go, it just came back in my mind. And I remember when I introduced you, I said that you are, let me just bring this back up here, quite interesting actually, that you are known as a Curatigan Martiner. Can you share it briefly with us on that one?
Yes, that's a name I coined for myself, because many times, I'll go out, people say, wait. Because most people, let me put it this way, my command of the English language, they think that I am from one of the islands. And then when they hear me speak Papiamento or Dutch, they say, but hey, how is it you speak these languages quite well? So instead of going through a long history of where I'm from, I decided to coin the phrase Kura for Curacao, Yukosau Mita, Tigan, Antiguan by heritage. All the roots comes from Antigua. My root is from Antigua. And Martiner, I have lived most of my life on St.Maarten. So I'm a St.Maartener by choice. So to put it together, I am a Curaçaoan or Curaçaoan by birth, an Antiguan by heritage, a St.Maartener by choice. And I'm proud to be that. I embrace these three islands as home. And as one friend once told me, you're right, K for Curaçao, A from Antigua, S for St.Maarten. When you put them together, you get Cas, which means home. So my home, Curaçao, Antigua, St.Maarten.
There you go. Wow, thank you for sharing that. So you know what's next, Mr. Francis? Your next book has to be all about that. So think about that so that you can put a really nice story together about that aspect of you, Curaçao, Antigua, and St. Maarten. I know that's going to be a bestseller, right?
Well, before you go, I must let you know I am on my second book, which is a novel, which is almost completed. And it starts, I have a passion. I have a love for Haiti. It starts in Haiti, St. Maarten, Curaçao, the Netherlands. It tells a story that I won't go into it now, but it's a powerful story. Okay? And the title of it is Beaten, Battered, Bruised, but Unbroken.
Wow.
It's about a young lady who migrated to the Netherlands Antilles at that time.
You got us in suspense
you get
already.
You got a little Curaçao, but most of it is in St. Maarten, right? Yeah. So I'm doing the final touches. I'm on the final chapter, and then, as you said, my idea, God's willing, is to continue to write. Now that I am retired, I utilize my time doing what I like, cooking, gardening, and writing.
Well, definitely, you've got absolutely.
That's it.
Well, it's going to be time well spent, Mr. Francis. Time well spent, and you've got us curious on that next book that is coming, which is your novel. So again, thank you so much for being on the show today. Many blessings, and we look forward to when the book is here. And the ladies and gentlemen listening to the show right now knows exactly what they need to do to pre-order in Emilio Wilson Park with Uncle Joe. Have yourself a blessed afternoon, Mr. Francis, and thank you for being here with me today.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure being on your program.
Always
and
a pleasure.
Good afternoon to all the listeners. And continue to pump the well-cooked music. I'll be listening.
Definitely, I'll do that. Thank you again. Have a blessed one. Thank you for being on the show.
All right.
Okay, bye-bye.
Take care now.
Bye-bye.
Thanks again.
You're welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard from Mr. Oswald Francis, the author of In Emilio Wilson Park with Uncle Joe. And this is a vibrant collection of stories rooted in Caribbean life, tales of adventure, courage, and the moments that define who we become. Through the warm voice of 99-year-old Uncle Joe, young readers are drawn into a world where integrity, respect, humility, and pride in heritage are not just values to admire, but a way of life to embrace. So you heard how you can get your hands on the book, and it's coming soon. Go on to victoriouslivingfoundation.com, and you'll see the link where you can absolutely fill in your details for the pre-order. And on Wednesday, coming March 18th, is going to be the link. The link is going to be there for you to also be able to purchase the ebook for only 99 US cents. It's going to be really awesome. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's keep it locked in here to Love and Inspiration. We still got some time together here with DJ RC. Up next is going to be one of those beautiful and powerful songs that actually Mr. Francis loves, and that's from John Legend. If you're out there, keep it locked in. Don't you go anywhere.
You're listening to music of excellence only on Love and Inspiration.